Hello everyone. Now we're going to start our second part of our economy. In the first part, we have seen a few of the topics. In the second part, we'll see majorly the RBI surplus transfer to the government. Okay, so just for the students were asking me, sir, many of the topics of economy or ecology that are present in the particular month are not covered. Yes, it has been deliberate attempt. We will cover it the topics I have already covered in other month, or if any topic is remaining, I'll cover in the remaining month, that is December, January, February, and March. Why is it so? Because I want to club some topics together to form a comprehensive topic, just like I have done for the defense this month. For example, defense one, I have done all the missiles together, right? Majority of the missiles. If any remaining, I'll cover it somewhere else. Similarly, I'm planning to do a science and tech session of space technology once, so as to cover many of the space related things down there. So I'll do the same for the economy also. Don't worry about it. Just stick with me and revise it, because there are not so many videos are coming very high frequency. So please keep track of it. Now within 20 or 25 days, we'll cover till March. So a lot of videos gonna come along with the other value added stuff. Now let's start. So RBI has decided on 26th August, the RBI Central Board has met, and they have decided that they will transfer 1.76 lakh crore to the government. Lakh crore to the government. So this is the RBI Central surplus transfer to the government over the years. Now, first of all, you can see a very high building as compared to the other building, and that is why it became a news. Every year they transfer some money, but now they become a news because this amount is like a bonanza for the government. So first question is that why is this much money? Second question is that why is there a dip here? Can you give me the answer? The answer is the demonetization, because in the demonetization time RBI has to print a lot of currency, and all the expenditure of that was borne by the RBI. Now, first we'll discuss RBI Central Board. So, RBI Central Board is one of the highest decision-making body in RBI. It consists of the five official directors and 16 unofficial directors. So, total member are 21. Official director considering of RBI governor and four deputy governor, while the unofficial directors are non-official members are four government official, 100% 100. Sorry, I'm really sorry. 10 directors nominated by the government and four director by RBI's local board. Okay, so government is 100% owner of RBI. First of all, you need to remember that, though it's an autonomous body, but government owns it. So that is why a lot of government representatives are there in the RBI Central Board. Now we'll discuss where RBI gets its money and where the expenditure of RBI, and how finally it gives its money to the government, or give its money to the government, that we have discussed in the chart. So RBI gets its money from many sources. For example, interest on the government security. So few of the government securities are in the open market operations. A monetary policy tool. I hope that you know all this very simple static economy thing, right? So which is the government security held by the a government security which is not in OMO. So RBI gets the interest on it. Similarly, interest on the foreign government security, some loans which has given to the banks and BFC. So the interest that it gets, some revaluation of the foreign currency and the gold if happening, it is having the gold. If any revaluation of the money or anything is happening, then this will discuss that. Sino Reg, okay. Then penalties on the many of the banks. For example, penalties under the direct action under the monetary policy. If any bank is not following a particular RBI directive or not doing some not shady things, so the RBI imposes penalty on them. So these are the source of the RBI money. So this is the incoming money. Where does the money go? So RBI pays for a staff retirement fund, some provisioning it does for the bank bad loans. So some money goes there. Some money RBI keeps for the capital reserve. This is for the risks, all the cumulative risk. We'll discuss that in detail. So all these are built of the RBI's capital reserve. So Bimal Jalan says, Bimal Jalan committee recently formed is with respect to this economic capital framework. This is this capital framework. So Bimal Jalan committee says that government should the RBI should keep 20 to 24.5% of their total balance sheet as the capital reserves, not more than that. Okay, so that is that. Then after these two things, whatever the money is left, RBI gives this money to the government. So RBI, this is the profit of the RBI, and under RBI section 47, RBI has to transfer all this profit to the government, and that is why the money given to the government every year. Getting my point? So RBI gets some money, it spends some money, it keeps some money for its reserve for different risks, and finally it gives some money to the government. Now many of the committees have said that RBI is a very heavily one of the RBI is the most capital rich or capital incentive capitalized central bank in the world. In fact, the economic surveys also said that all many of the central banks of the world do not have this much capital reserves with them. So RBI currently has more than 23% of the capital reserves with them. Okay, so, because of that, we will see that the income of this year among the 1.76 lakh crore, around 1.23 crore additional income of the RBI has gone directly to the government in the form of dividend. What RBI earlier used to do? Earlier they used to take a lot of money into building its reserve. So this year all the money has come to the dividend first thing. So we'll discuss. Two components are there. Before that, let us discuss this. So what is this? Seigniorage. So this is basically very easy. This is the difference between the face value, the real value of the note or the currency, minus the cost of building those. For example, when you printing the paper, so cost of the paper, the printing machine, like that. And the real, for example, 100 rupee notes. So obviously the 100 rupee note making is not cost, is 100 rupees are not invested in making those 100 rupee notes, right? Similarly this, so value of the coin is $1,000 and cost of producing and distributing the cost is only $100. So $900 is the profit to the RBI, the central bank, right? Now this is under this capital framework. The capital I talk about, capital reserve, which RBI has said to maintain according to Bimal Jalan committee, 20 to 24.5%. Among it, two are the most important. That's what we have to remember. That is currency and gold revolution account and contingency fund. Rest are there. Asset development fund is there. Investment revaluation, not too much important. We will see very less amount is there also. More importantly, this figure and this figure. You can see the width. So width is, this has the more money. This has relatively less money than this. Okay. So contingency fund and the second fund. So this currency and gold devaluation fund, you can see the amount is 6.92 lakh crores, and with respect to contingency fund is 2.32 lakh crores, right? And this is there from where RBI gets the reserve. We have discussed that. Getting my point? And these two, you can see the money very less, so not significant to us. For our understanding, this much is enough. Now we talk about over the years. Now you see over the years, the RBI has developed managed a lot of fund here, and RBI has added a lot of fund here. So RBI, it is said, the Bimal Jalan committee has said, RBI has made a lot of reserves into its capital reserve, which is not required to maintain, like which is required, but this much reserve is not required for RBI. Okay, so RBI currently has, in 2019 it was 23%, but it is around 25-26%. Okay, and Bimal Jalan committee has said the total reserve should be 20-25%, like that. And contingency reserve, this reserve, mainly we have to talk about this reserve. So this reserve has to be only, they have defined the limit of the reserve as 5.5 to 6.5%. Okay, this much of the total balance sheet they have to maintain. Getting my point? But RBI has the 6.4% currently, has that before Bimal Jalan committee. So Bimal Jalan committee said, okay, then we will take this value, that RBI should maintain this value in its contingency fund, and the difference between these two value RBI has to pay back to the government. Getting my point? So Bimal Jalan committee effectively said, you have enough money for the contingency fund. This much you have to maintain, currently this much you have, so pay the government this much difference. And this is the addition to the income. So this is finally the case. So 1.76 lakh crore is divided into two things. First, the regular income which RBI every time gets, net income of 2018-19. So this month directly transferred to the government. Earlier, whatever the amount was, RBI used to give to the government. Along with that, it used to keep some money for its capital reserve. Now, government said, okay, transfer all the money to the government first, your net income. Then that income 6.4 minus 5.5%. That extra build up that is in your contingency fund, excess available in the contingency fund, transfer that to the government. So cumulatively, this amount has come out to be 1.76 lakh crore. Now the problem is not in this amount. This amount is fine. But the problem is in this amount. People are saying that our government has curbed into the autonomy of the RBI, asking this much amount. Also, government has made only 5.5% of the contingency reserve. Why the lower limit? Why not upper limit? Why you have considered the lower limit? So this is the controversy and the problems. But we are considering the prelims. This much we have to remember. So this is there. Everything is written. So please read it out. I'm not going to read it out. So this much, 52,000 crore. This much is the 5.5% of the contingency reserve of the total asset in the form of the contingency reserve fund. Getting my point? So this is that. Okay. And this is the other thing that I've explained. 1.23 lakh crores. So addition of those two has been 1.76 lakh crore. Getting my point? Very easy. So this is the Bimal Jalan committee. I've already discussed Bimal Jalan committee. So this committee has finally, earlier there was a standoff. So RBI, Urjit Patel has said that we will not transfer this much money because this is we have to build our capital reserve, while government was asking for the money because government wants to fill its coffer for the fiscal deficit. So that they do not breach that amount. So finally a standoff was there. Then finally Bimal Jalan committee was set up to provide a more expert objective view on this. So again, just to reiterate, some revaluation reserves are there, then some contingency reserves are there. That is there. Now we discuss a very small section 7 of RBI Act. So section 7 of RBI Act has two provisions. First, the central government can consult the RBI, and second, it can produce the binding. Second provision says that binding direction to the RBI in the public interest. So in public interest, the government can force RBI to do some things. Okay. For example, government can say RBI that, okay, change the definition of NPA. So government under section 7 can do that. Till now, no government in the history has done it. The government of the day, Modi government, has used section A or section 1 of this. Part A of this section 7. That is, they have consulted the RBI. But obviously, under the huge criticism from media and the opposition, they have not issued a direction. So remember that this provision has not been used by the government. And under this pressure, it is said that Urjit Patel has resigned from the RBI. So this is section 7 of RBI. So this is that, right? Okay. Next is, believe 1.76 lakh crore is understood to you. With respect to that, in the next December month, I will discuss in detail the Basel norms, because it has a lot of many students have told me that, sir, if possible, we explain the Basel norms. So I'll explain the Basel norms and the recapitalization bond along with that. Right. Let's start the priority sector lending. Why it was in the news? Because RBI has tweaked some priority sector lending norms. This tweaking is not important for us because it is very, very minute. So I'll discuss just the priority sector lending in general. So priority sector, basically it is for two different classification. So for the domestic banks and the foreign banks with more than 20 branches. Apart from that, the foreign branches with less than 20 branches. Okay. So the domestic banks and the foreign banks with more than 20 branches have to provide total priority sector of total lending. They have to provide 40% of their total lending to the priority sector. Okay. So under this 40% of the adjusted net bank, all this is a technical term. We don't have to understand this. Just remember 40% of the total credit they have to provide to the priority sector lending. Under the priority sector, the RBI has said they have more classification they have done. For example, sub classification for agriculture, they have to spend 18%. Now within the 80%, within the agriculture, they have said 10% to the normal farmer and 8% to the MSME farmer. Okay, within micro enterprise 7.5% and more of that. Okay, so internal classification has also been done. Next, 40% total no internal classification for the foreign branches less than 20. Obviously, where they'll find the small and medium farmers? If they are situated in the urban area, how can they how can they fulfill this requirement? So they are not ought to do that. Okay, so within the weaker section, they have defined weaker section. Once UPSC in 2013, I think they've asked the weaker section. So it's all the definitions, people with disability, like they have defined who comes under the weaker section. So just have a look at the list and you are done. Nothing more than that is required. Okay, so some tweaking was done. So from 1969, they have started using the priority sector lending. The idea of priority sector lending from late 1960s has come, and recently in 2016, they have issued the PSL certificates. It is a really good initiative by the RBI. So what is PSL certificates? First of all, you will see to whom PSL is applicable or not. I am very rushing it through because these are all the static things that you have to do, right? In the banking, we do all the static to whom PSL is applicable. What is PSL? Different things. So very quickly I'm going through. So for the commercial banks, 40% they have to fulfill. Among the differential bank, RRB, Regional Rural Bank, has to give 75% of the PSL. Local area bank, this small finance bank, 75%. To the payment bank, not applicable. Not applicable to the cooperative banks, because cooperative banks are ought to do that, or their financing is to the priority sector only. Okay, so what is this PSL certificate? So PSL certificates are very easy. I've written it there, just read it out. If we talk about diagram, so for example, A bank, so both are supposed to fulfill 40% of their PSL. However, A bank has lent, let's say 50% more than what was required, and B bank was left at 30%. So he will transfer 10% of the PSL quota to this. However, remember, the risk of the risk given to the people, the economic risk of the loan will be there with the A only. Okay, so economic risk will not be transferred. For example, someone gets the NPA, then A will be responsible. So it is written here. Under the PSL quota scheme, the seller self-fulfillment of the priority sector obligation, the buyer buys the obligation with no transfer or risk of the loan asset. So if someone does NPA, so the first one, the excess one, will be responsible. Right. The third topic of the day, we're going to discuss RRBs. So it was in the news because government is planning some amalgamation of the RRBs. Amalgamation. So this, let's discuss. So yes, so they're targeting some of the amalgamation of RRBs, thus reducing number of entities, right? So quickly we'll see RRB. So RRB was found with RRB Act is there, 1976. The whole idea is to provide a bank with pro-people, pro-poor, and have rural ethos. Okay, these were the intended objective. So recommendation of the Narsimhan Working Committee report, right? So they provide a adequate credit for the agriculture. As we have seen, 75% lending to the PSL quota, right? Okay. So with respect to the equity of it, currently structures of RRB is 50% of the holding is by the central government, 35% by the sponsored bank, and 15% by the state government, right? So they are planning to bring the number of RRB to 38 from currently 56. So some amalgamation, these things will be held, and it is the same thing written there. So just need to know that CRR, SLR are applicable to the RRBs, right? So amalgamation versus merger, I hope you know the difference between The two merger means, so company B, it is acquired into the company A. So ultimately go into B and ultimately A becomes a larger entity. Okay, something like that. So amalgamation means A and B mixes and they make a new company, right? Okay, so for example, SBI is merger into the other five SBIs merge into SBI, so that is merger. In on the other hand, Idea and Vodafone, they amalgamated, like that. Okay, very small difference. The last topic of the day is time bank, very innovative concept. The MP government, it's a happiness department. So last year it was in the news that happiness department was established by which state government. So this year, MP government, happiness department had decided to go for the time bank. Very innovative thing. So what is time bank? First of all, it is not a new concept. For India, it is new, but it was started in Japan in 1973. Okay, so what is time bank basically? So you go, you have a skill, you have a teaching skill, let us say. So you will go and teach someone for 1 hour. So, okay, so your entry will be done. Okay, this man has taught for 1 hour, right? So your entries will be done. Similarly, some other person will have his teaching like gardening or skill like gardening. So the amount they will dedicate to help others with the skills they have will be noted down. Finally, I need help. For example, I need help. I am teaching to, let's say, A person. He is giving gardening and B person is giving gardening to the C person. So, for example, I need help for gardening, for example. Then I can take the help of B. Getting my point? So it is not necessary that A person should reciprocate to me. My entry will be here, A's entry will be here, that A has taken training for 1 hour. So he has received and I am giving and finally when I'll be needing, okay, I need in gardening in my home. So someone from this bank will help me to do my task. Very easy. Okay. So I'll give some time. For example, just quickly revise. So I am given some time and I have contributed a skill to someone. Okay. Then if whenever I'll be needing something, I'll get back the same thing. Not particularly from this person, from anyone that is there only. Okay. So like-minded volunteers will come and meet and see, set up these thing. They can offer any service like a very small service like taking care of elderly patient, driving someone to work, teaching, gardening, cooking, like that. Okay. So this is time bank for us. So with this we come to an end of our session. We have discussed one major thing, otherwise everything is very small. Very small session is there. I know the very less topic I have covered this time, but I'll cover in detail December. It will be a long sessions for economy. Just like in August, we had very many topics of economy, right? Similarly, we're gonna have a lot of sessions of relatively big sessions of economy in December. Okay, so August month, I was discussing, yes. So yes, so finally we ended our 6 month, right, today. So a bit of problem in the chronology of the session, but now on the YouTube we have seen, you must have seen, everything is so clear cut mentioned. So don't be too much worried about which session, which part, nothing. Right? Economy is there, every subject wide things are mentioned. So we have completed 6 month. Now coming month we have already covered October and November. So from September we'll directly jump to the December month and we'll try to cover it very quickly. Right? So after December we'll move on to the January and February. See you in the next time. Thank you everyone. Keep revising, keep revising. Do solve a case study, do solve a current affair test series. It will really help you. You can get all the test series on the Telegram groups or all, or Amrita itself has its own uh, test series, online test series. So you can get on the online Amrita test series and solve it. You can also join our Telegram group. All the PDFs are now available after a long time. All the PDFs are available to us. You can download the PDFs. You can revise all the PDFs, both for the 4 month PDFs, consolidated PDF, as well as the PPT PDF. Right? So see you in the next class, everyone. See you in the December month, I should say. So we'll meet you next time. Thank you, everyone.